The guest of honour at that school's opening was the First Minister of Wales, Carwyn Jones. So we also spoke to him, and he had some pretty interesting things to say about Brexit and the Chequers deal. But I started by asking him about the impact of austerity.
Well, it means there's less money around. It means that it's very difficult for local authorities to find the money they need. Very difficult for us as a Welsh Government to find the money that we need to make sure that we can keep the health service and education in the place where we'd want. But we've managed to do it over the past 10 years. But there'll come a time in the next few years when it'll be very, very difficult to sustain what we've done so far.
There's been talk of a Western powerhouse by the Welsh Secretary. Do you see much evidence of that, of investment, of new job creation in Wales in this area?
No, not from the UK government. The UK government takes money away, it doesn't invest. Look, I'm not quite sure what he means by it. If he means, should we cooperate with Bristol and the other side of the Severn Bridge, well, of course. I mean, you have a cross-border cooperation even where there are international borders. You get that in Ireland, for example. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to work together to create prosperity. We do the same in the northeast of Wales. The economy of the northeast of Wales is closely connected with Chester and Merseyside. It would be daft if we simply said we're just going to look at the northeast of Wales purely on the basis of it being self-contained. So, yeah, of course we want to work with others to get the best.
Brexit, of course, is something that we can't avoid almost in any sort of interview at the minute. Wales voted to leave the EU. Britain voted to leave the EU. How do you think Brexit is going to impact this area?
Depends what it looks like. The problem is, 2 years ago, people were asked to vote on a concept, not a plan. No one could say to people, if you vote to leave, this is exactly what will happen. And now, of course, we've got this mess because the hardliners say, don't be afraid of a no deal. And there are people like me who say, OK, people voted to leave the EU. They didn't vote to leave the single market or the customs union. They weren't asked, because neither of those things require EU membership. People didn't say to me on the doorstep, we need to leave the European Medicines Agency. I mean, no one said that. So, for me, it's got to be a sensible Brexit. A no-deal Brexit is disastrous for us because 60% of our exports in Wales go to the single market. 90% of our food and drink products that are exported go to the single market. Any tariff barriers or non-tariff barriers, I can imagine with food, delays at the ports, the food goes off, particularly fish. That's bad for us. And that's not what people were told. 2 years ago, nobody said one of the possibilities is a no-deal Brexit. Nigel Farage didn't say that. They all said there'll be a deal. Don't worry, there'll be a deal. The European Union will give us a deal quickly. The German car manufacturers will enforce the EU's hand, and it hasn't happened.
Well, do you think then the Labour Party should effectively support the government on Chequers? If you're worried about a no-deal scenario, that would be the responsible thing for Labour to do, wouldn't it?
It's very, very difficult to see where Chequers is going to go. I think Chequers is a step in the right direction.
If Labour supports it, then it'll go
It's
through.
a step in the right direction. I'm not going to say Chequers is something I don't welcome. I do to an extent, because it takes us. It's not as far as we would want to go, I have to say. But it's the right direction. It's far better than a no deal. But this is not about what happens with the Labour Party. The Conservative Party is utterly split over Brexit. It's in no one's interest. I can make political mischief and say, isn't it awful what the Tories are doing? But it's no good for the country. At the end of the day, this is about more than politics. This is about making sure that people have a living and a livelihood once we leave the EU. And I don't think at the moment we're seeing any real leadership from Conservative politicians.
The idea of a second referendum, does that tempt you?
I don't think we're there yet. I think there might come a time when a second referendum becomes inevitable. Let's say, for example, there's no deal agreed in Parliament. Well, how do you resolve it then? An election, general election. Let's say that the result of that election was as inconclusive as the last one. Well, how then do you resolve it, other than by going back to the same people who took the initial decision and saying, look, now you know what the possibilities are, what's your view now?